Welcome to a great new conversation in a whole new year after the election from the Progressive Democrats of LaPorte County. We are all, and everybody I know is excited to talk about what is going to happen with the Democratic Party in the future. So we all know that the current state chair has announced that he is not going to run again. And so, this is the time to think about the future of the party, what we could do different, and what we think will make it better. And so I am just super excited to have State Representative Karlee Macer here with me today. Do we still call you that even after the election? We call you former State Representative, former State Representative Karlee Macer with us to talk about just that issue. And so I want to read a little bio about Karlee. So everyone knows about her background. So former state representative Karlee Macer was first elected to the Indiana House of Representatives in 2012 and is a resident and native of Wayne Township on the west side of Indianapolis. As a former president of the Wayne Township Education Foundation, former president of the 40 West Business Association, and the community relations manager, clinical liaison at Northwest Healthcare Center, Macer has worked with families, workers, and business leaders to accomplish shared goals in the community. She's a founding member of the community and economic development nonprofit Indie Gateway, focusing on improving the quality of life for everyone on the West Side. By fighting for industry in both the public and private sector, she has worked to create jobs, build community networks, and quality living in Indiana's House District 92. Representative Macer was the first Democrat to represent her community in over 60 years and was the first woman to ever hold that position. She now spends her time traveling the state, training strong candidates to run for office and building coalitions with local leaders to reestablish the infrastructure of the Democratic Party. With a focus on building the bench and advocating for diverse representation at all levels of government, Representative Macer has made uplifting Democrats and advancing fair, progressive policies her top priority. And I just want to echo those words because in my work with the 29 progressive women that we worked with to run for the state legislature in 2020, Karlee was right there. And she was very helpful and very supportive of all of those women. And they really needed it. So now the Democratic Party. As I said, John Zodi has announced that he won't be running again for the state chair, so there will be an open seat. And I just want to go through the process quickly so people know how it works. So it's interesting, I will say. So in the midterm elections on the primary ballot, people run for a precinct committee chair for the Democratic Party. And often, not enough people run, and so there are vacancies, but that's where you would run. So the next one would be in 2022. Then the last one in 2018, 3 years after that, now in 2021, in the very first Saturday of March 6th, precinct committee chairs and their vice chairs will come together in each county and elect a county chair and the officers. And then those newly elected county chairs, 1 week later, will come together with all of the other newly elected county chairs in one of the 9 Indiana congressional districts, and they will elect a congressional district chair and the officers. Then those newly elected congressional district chairs and vice chairs will be admitted onto the state central committee. And so they, along with three representatives from the National Democratic Party who are from Indiana, and leaders of the constituent caucuses in Indiana party, the 6 of them, and some deputy chairs, and possibly someone else I don't know about, but this is all I know. But they will all come together and they will elect the state chair, and that's on the 3rd Saturday in March. So it's an interesting process and not terribly intuitive. So I first want to give Karlee a chance to just say a few words, but I do have some questions. I was very pleased that people submitted questions, and so I have some questions. But Karlee, tell us about yourself. Tell us why you're running for the state chair, and what your vision is.
Yeah. Well, I think you just was able to tell a little bit about me in my bio, but I want everyone to know I've had an opportunity to represent one of the finest communities in the state of Indiana, and I could not be more proud of that experience. But I think the future of our party is really up for grabs right now. It comes down to whether or not we're ready to make the bold changes that are necessary to flip seats and to win races so that we can act fair and progressive policies. It's going to take a comprehensive plan, a really aggressive strategy that takes us into the next decade and beyond. And if we really want to make the systematic changes, I mean, there's no way around this. I believe it with everything in me. And I will tell you, Deb, what's important, I think, for me is my team and I have put together a plan that we think will guide us and will guide our strategy to bring new approaches and resources to the table. And what I believe the role of the state party chair should really be to add value to the work that's already taking place around the state and to provide support structure and truly lift up the work being done in each of our counties. There are incredible people doing a lot of work, and I think a very high priority in the role should be is to add to the work that they're doing and continue to lift them up.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm so excited about, the possibilities. Okay, so here is question number one. Someone asks for you to please give your analysis of the election results in 2020. I'll let you go, state, local, whatever you'd like to talk about.
Yeah. Well, I think we're all just still kind of getting by. I know it's been just a tough several weeks for many reasons here in the state of Indiana, most importantly, but even on a national level. I think we all have just every day been working our way into feeling like we have a new president, and we know that now. And but we'll feel good when we get across the finish line, no matter what. So I have to say, for me, I believe for any of us that's a priority. But the election really has showed us doing the same thing year after year it just isn't working. And that if we're going to flip seats, then we need to overhaul the strategy and begin with a full in-depth analysis of all of our races up and down the ballot. I mean, we're still in the midst of a deeply divided time in our nation, and in Indiana is not immune to that. But I mean, we cannot continue to combat the narrative that's being told about Democrats, and that's what I'm sick of. Our only messaging feels as if that we're just not Republicans. And the policies that the supermajority in the state house that I've watched in front of my face continue to pass have done real harm to a lot of our Hoosier families, to our public schools. It is destroying the infrastructure and lives of our community. And without a strategic focus on retaking the majority, I've been doing this for 8 years and I'd never heard retaking the majority being a focus of ours. And we're going to continue to spin our wheels without making any progress. And I know for sure that's why I want to be to help lead us to a path of victory, for us to see the day when Democrats are in the majority. And quite honestly, it was really crushing. It was crushing because, I mean, it's not entirely unexpected to me to have seen some of my friends in the state house lose their seat this year. And it's an indication of where our priorities lie. We have to be doing more to get our candidates across the aisle and cross that finish line. And I keep coming back to the fact that it means, fundraising like we have never, ever seen. Training our candidates and creating solution message strategies that help lay out the groundwork for true success. It's been a tough time. It's been honestly a tough year. It's been a tough decade. Yes. And that is why I knew that it was time for us to really, no matter what, to have the real conversations about the election, what this experience, to really look at that, to also look at the past decade. But Deb, more importantly, we must look ahead and we must create a comprehensive strategy and work day and night for the priorities and the policies that we stand for, and to do what we can to help Hoosier families and the people that we represent.
Awesome. Okay, so, all right, so, and you brought something up about messaging, and we did get a question on that. And I, I just want to say, you know, in my experience in this last election cycle, it was really clear that we were not able to get our candidates' messages to anyone who was not already going to vote for them. And there's a real clear domination of messaging. And it's done on the national level. And you can see it because, you know, that's what's coming up. Like we had a hard time in our candidates' dialogues with their opponents, even getting them to talk about Indiana. It was all nationalized messaging. And it was being, you know, really like sent directly through this kind of impenetrable tube from the national level, from Fox News and from Sinclair Media to Indiana, like, and particularly rural voters. And we could not break through that. And that's something that, you know, that's going to continue to be a problem. When state level and even lower level race Republicans are calling Democratic opponents, you know, Nancy Pelosi or AOC, you know, it's like, I mean, why are we not talking about Indiana? And the reason is because we could not even reach those people with our messaging. So this is, you know, it's not a fair question because it's a hard one. That's a really hard one, how to get through that.
It is, but it's a hard one we must tackle. We must have this conversation. It is a very hard one. And I say, you know, as a business leader and somebody who has been in the arena as a representative, and also somebody who has been fighting the narrative that Republicans have tried to put on me. I have represented and been elected in a Republican district. I'm the first woman to represent my community. I'm the first Democrat since the 1940s. I can tell you for sure, in my own community where I've grown up and lived, fighting and walking through the branding that has been tried to put on me has not been easy, but it is exactly, again, another reason why I'm talking to you today. I believe so strongly that there is another way, but just no, we're never going to get there without a comprehensive strategy, even when it comes to our messaging. And I believe there's layers of that, but we have to recognize that there's no one size fits all to the messaging strategy for our races. I know for sure what I talk about is in District 92 is different than District 15, or, you know, just understanding from my caucus members, but also the reality of traveling around the state and being a lifelong Hoosier. I know the conversations are different around our state. And we also need to recognize the rhetoric that alienates members of our base that you're talking about, and make sure that we speak the comprehensive the policies that define us as Democrats. I mean, namely a fair playing field, you know, supporting all Hoosier families and fighting for inclusive economic policies that build up both of our urban and rural communities. I mean, I know for far too long, we've let Republicans define what it means to be a Democrat. And our only option has been to fight against that and fight against what we're not. I mean, we are not talking about, unfortunately, our policies. We're talking about who we are saying that they say that we are, that we're not. And that sounds confusing in itself, but we need to tailor our messaging to reach rural voters and show them what we as Democrats stand for. And not only that, to do it with confidence. Mm-hmm. People, not confidence, know what our policies and who we are and what we stand for. That's it too. So
yeah, that's such a great point.
Strategies, yeah. There are so many layers, because again, what you mentioned, it's a national, it's a local, it's a state. But you know what, Debbie, this is the thing. We're never going to get anywhere outside of that if we are not talking about it, and if we are not focusing comprehensively and even directly from district to district. Mm-hmm. There is so much work that needs to be done. When we talk about a fair, real, comprehensive strategy to get us where we need to be, I can tell you, it's a lot of work ahead, and messaging is a very big part of that work. But we can do it. We will do it.
Yeah,
We
and
can.
I can almost, imagine actually Democrats having, an image. I mean, because right now there isn't one. Except for like what you said, like what the Republicans say we are, that, we're
And spending
communists.
so much of our
So,
time fighting that narrative has been, no, that's not who we are. But
right,
certainly for us to be confident about what we stand for, the policies that we stand for, who we are, is critical moving forward. And I look forward to helping with that. And I'm a proud Democrat, and I know that there's also a lot of proud Democrats, and I look forward to helping people understand why I am so proud of what I stand by, and to be a Democrat in the state of Indiana.
that's excellent. And now here's an example. Many of our candidates really got shut down on the Second Amendment issue, gun rights and everything. And, I don't think there's any Democrat who doesn't believe in safe and responsible gun ownership that protects children. But that wasn't what anyone outside of the Democratic Party thought Democrats believed.
They've been doing that for a very long time. So we know that. We know this.
Yeah.
So
It's
it's
right.
going to be important for us, of course, across the nation, but we can be responsible for ourselves, and we can be responsible for our state and take action on that. And it's nothing that's going to happen overnight, and we know that, but we have continued, unfortunately, to walk with that, and I'm done with it. So I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to working with everyone to make sure people fully understand who we are as Democrats and the policies that we do stand for. And that's the road I'm going to walk down.
Excellent. Well, and okay, so here's another example. Um, a lot of the discussion was about abortion, and 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 I will say that my work with the candidates, the women candidates that we're running, we talked about reproductive justice. Well, that's not just abortion. Then that's addressing sexual violence against women, which is at epidemic levels. That's ensuring maternal health and infant mortality. That's getting paid the equal amount of money for doing the equal work. All of those go to reproductive justice, and that is such an undeveloped part of being a Democrat that you just don't see, and that really should be part of our image. About lifting women up.
I agree. I
All of
feel
those.
like, sure, right. Yes, I agree with you.
So I'm looking forward to that. Okay.
I
All
am
right,
too.
here's another
Because
question.
it's something I talk to you about a lot, because it is something that I believe in strongly. So, but I know we only have so much time. So,
Yeah. Okay, here's another question. Let's see. How can you re-energize the Democratic Party at the county level? We have, a lot of people, have been talking about the difficulties
yeah.
at the county level. Not enough action, not enough, getting out there doing stuff. What can we do to energize the Democrats at that level?
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, I really just strongly believe in my experience, the grassroots work that's being done. I can just speak to my communities. Wow, I just can't thank all those folks enough. Number one, I believe they are the backbone. They are the front line, and they've done a lot of work, and I know they're weary. But it is important for us to recognize their work, number one. And I think that, we all know the cliche that our county level organizations, like I said, are the backbone. But, for far too long, we haven't given them the tools to succeed and set forth a comprehensive plan that brings all 92 counties to the table. I've gotten the chance to talk with many of them. over the last few weeks and really last few years, as just really getting to have a better understanding, because I work as a state representative and as a clinical liaison. So I don't come to the table knowing everything that it takes to be a chair or more. And so just really admire the work that's being done and have been able to witness of so much of that in front of me. And it's been incredible. And I mean, really, I think, and if we haven't spoken yet, I would say for any of the people that may be watching, if you haven't received a call from me yet, just, you're around the corner. So, but time and time again, I think we've heard it said that, there's a wall between our state and our county parties. These relationships not only need to be invested in, but utilized to set strategic benchmarks for success, to lead by the county parties themselves. I mean, they want to succeed. They want the guidance, assistance, and resources really coming from the top. They want that help. I believe our county organizations have roots that run deep in our communities. They know their communities better than anyone else. And this is a valuable asset that it's going to help us build our strong network of resources that carry us across the finish line. We know that this sort of structural investment, it yields the measurable results, and it's a lengthy timeline, but it's necessary in order to achieve the goals that create the generational impacts that I want to make, that I know we all want to make, that stay in place after each election cycle. And I know that with a strong party organization, I believe, and I know for sure, that empowered leaders at every level will be able to create this systematic changes to the way that our party and our state operate. I mean, I think that there is just an enormous opportunity for us to re-energize. And most importantly, what I've done as a nonprofit leader, as a business leader, and also someone who has been able to help candidates in my backyard, in my community, to get elected, and also around the state, is providing them with the tools and the resources, and sometimes some mentorship and a friendly hello and thank you on occasion really goes a long way too. But there is just so much that we can do to help really re-energize. And for me, that's where I see a lot of this work. I'm really excited to be able to work on the ground up. I've always said, and I know for sure, I'm a ground lady. I like to be there getting the work done, and I always have. So I look forward to learning and listening from a lot of people who have different perspectives, ideas, and really knowledge. But being able to listen to that and then help with a strategic plan to go in place, and to be able to do everything that we can to give them the tools. And then it's important, because with that, then the people take responsibility and ownership of that, and they run with it, and they do a better job than you could ever even dream of. So I'm really excited to just re-energize and to be able to helpful and do what I can to give the tools, along with a team of people who I know would want to do the same.
That's great. And again, and now that I'm like inspired here to keep giving examples, as I worked with these 29 wonderful candidates from all over the state, I got to hear about local Democratic parties all over the state. And like in our county, many times, because people approach the party and don't, get welcomed, they don't get appreciated. They sometimes don't even get included, that many counties ended up creating other groups, other Democratic groups like ours. And this happened in many, many counties. And, we would like to, we'd like to work towards unifying all of the Democrats in each of these counties. And I wonder, yeah, I know we have some variety of positions on different issues, but I want to ask you, how do you think that you can address that in a way that helps all of these, kind of fractured Democratic local party and clubs or groups come together, and so that they're just much stronger?
Yes. Well, again, I think number one is I think there's a real opportunity for us to do some of the things we've never done before. And in my mind, I know that something that I have coming up that I'm working on is I believe there's an opportunity for some of the folks to work together who a lot of times we're so busy just doing the best that we can. But just making sure that we are spending a lot of time learning from each other, but also I believe it is almost a county by county way that we can make sure again that we're not coming in there feeling at all as a party. We are there to help. We are there to assist. And I think creating those relationships, earning respect from the people who have been doing the work. Look, too many times in the state of Indiana, let alone in my own personal community, have we been told lots of things before, but I know a lot of people and smart Hoosiers also believe that they know they want to see things. They want to see action. And I think that it's important for us to show up for people in these communities, earn respect and trust, provide those tools and resources to each other, but find more ways for us to work with each other, learn from each other. And I think that there is a lot of opportunity for how we can engage, but also start building a better infrastructure and connecting all of us together. But there's no time like right now to be doing that and looking at the incredible people who are doing good work. And we have to just, it's important for us to every area in this state is going to need to have a focus and to make sure that we're there to lift everyone up and bring them along with us along the way. So I look forward to doing everything that I can to connect people and certainly the good people who are doing work within our counties. And I know there's a lot of things that have happened in the past too. I think what I've experienced in politics is there's a lot of stuff that's happened that I have no idea about, that people that have happened years ago or this or that. But for me, I have no other priority than the progressive fair policies that we stand for and the fair opportunities for our districts, and doing what I can to do the right thing and do what I know, which is to know better and to take care of the people of the state the best that I can. So along the way, I don't have all the answers, but I do feel like I'm a coalition builder. My resume shows that, but people who know Karlee Macer and know my heart, the heart of people is where I'm at, but I have spent my career strategizing and executing plans, and most importantly, lifting up others along the way. And I look forward to doing that within our counties, within our party, through every single area of our state. And like I said, bring everybody side by side together up along the way.
That's terrific. And just to your point, I think that even though we have all of these kind of different groups that are working, parallel work, it's interesting to find that all of them really believe in the Democratic Party platform. And so there's really no need to have this kind of fracturing, except for, technology, whatever logistical problems or personality problems that are keeping people from coming together. So I really look forward to, your influence and your ability to, just bring everybody together. I mean, we really all do believe in the same thing. And so
Yes.
there's no good reason.
To really respect the organizations who have really, I mean, if you think about it, as Democrats who we are just hardworking, excellent, smart, talented people. And when Democrats feel like I admire people who have taken it into their hands many times to do what they can to assist the party along the way, to help out within their communities. I mean, that's just who we are. And I just can't thank them enough. And I look forward for everybody being a part of what we're doing moving forward. But most importantly, I thank everybody for doing what they can to lead the way. I look forward to a day when the Democrat Party is so strong that all of us will be working tightly together. And maybe even some of these organizations will not even need to exist.
Right.
I think that I look forward to that day. And I know for sure there's a future for that.
Yeah, me too. Okay, where are we at? Okay, so we're half past. Let's see. I have okay, so we talked about the message a bit. But I would like to ask it again a little bit with another kind of angle on it, and really ask you to talk about how Democrats in the Democratic Party can develop a winning message for rural voters. because I think that's where our challenge is, right?
Yes, it kind of goes, it definitely goes along with what I've already said to Deb. I think that there's so many layers of approach, but I think we're going to have to be extremely strategic, not only as our message period of the policies, the important policies that we stand for, that people will know for sure what they are, what they mean exactly with confidence, be able to talk to their neighbors, their colleagues, their family about that. But also, I think that, like I mentioned already, is that, in District 92 is different than, the area of Southern Indiana in particular. I mean, it's just, again, what is important to our districts and our communities and our counties on a very local level. It's important for us to really listen and understand. But I think our message is going to be so strategic in that way as well. So there's several layers of messaging that I believe are going to be important. But our rural community, like our voters, we need to show up for them. So we need to make sure that what I feel moving forward, again, as somebody who has represented a red district, as somebody who has been a Democrat in a Republican community and have found my way, I just know how important it is for our messaging. And again, as a proud Democrat, I've worked really hard to fight the narrative that we've had. But I do believe that there is a lot of work that needs to be done, and our rural communities are ready for us to show up. And I know, because I've heard from so many of them. But I believe, to answer your question, it really is really strategic around the state. And I will say, I would never compromise my integrity, but also I would never compromise the Democrat policies that I stand for as well. So when I say that, I know that we all know how important it is to really truly understand our communities when it comes to messaging, listening to those local leaders who know, and to be able to be so strategic with how we move forward with our messaging is going to be really, really important. And particularly that is in our rural communities. And I've been listening to so many wonderful people as I've had a lot of conversations now, and just finding the threads that weave through all of our communities. And so many of our rural communities really talk so much about fighting that narrative. Always that most of their conversations is screaming about what they are not, and defending who they, and it's so much of that. So our rural communities, all of our communities need a lot, but I would say our rural communities really deserve an extra hand in us showing up, because have worked with the people who represent those areas that sit on the other side of the aisle from me, and they're not showing up for those folks either. So I look forward to making sure they fully understand why it's important to not only be a Democrat, but to vote for Democrats, and also to run for office as Democrats.
That's great. And I think I agree with you. Oh, go ahead.
Donate a lot of money to us too. So because when people believe in that and they see that you are succeeding, they are witnessing that. I know more and more people will also financially be behind us, and we're going to be able to work our way to, like I said, we know my goal is to be in the majority for Democrats by 2030.
Excellent. That's an excellent plan. And, as to rural people, I think, we know that their issues are issues that Democrats are sympathetic to and want to help, expanding infrastructure for internet and broadband, improving access to healthcare, providing, rural access to higher education. All of these things, and even farming issues, moving forward, farming is changing. And, and Democrats are ready to address those issues. And so we just really need to wrap our arms around those people.
It goes even further than that. Just briefly, as someone, I spent 3 of my years in high school in Rockville, Indiana. And so just this morning, I got home from Park County. That's where my family lives. They've lived there for 30 something years. My brother lives there in Park County, Bridgeton as well, has a little farm. And so much of what I've seen over my years, but also in addition to what you said, the public schools, the infrastructure. I mean, we're talking about the things that we stand for as Americans. that their schools have consolidated in a way. The local hospitals barely exist out there, and it goes on and on. So I'm someone who yes, I represent District 92 over the years, but also the other part of my life, and a beautiful part of Indiana in Park County has been a huge part of my life as well. And I see those rural communities because those are my family, those are my neighbors. And again, when you work in the arena and you're watching people, watching them vote against the interest of their own community,
Yeah,
devastating.
it is.
It's why I'm talking to you today again.
Yeah, it is. It's just shocking. So, okay. So I want to wrap up because we're about out of time, but I want to, I know that you are excited to get, more people involved, and I want to make sure everyone knows that in 2020, on the May primary ballot is when you can run for precinct committee chair in your precinct, and it would be delightful if everyone ran for every precinct. I don't know that that's ever happened. So it would be really great if that happened. And people who were interested, who were eager to learn, who were eager to adopt their precinct as their own neighborhood, and reach out and develop volunteers in their own precincts that help them reach every voter in their precinct and get every voter registered and get every voter to the polls and get them familiarized with candidates. um, you know, that's what we want to see for precinct committee people. We want to see people who are ready to go. And the Democratic Party has developed good training materials for that. There's really, there's materials out there, but we need strong leadership that will really help set up expectations for precinct committee chairs and their committees at the lowest level of the party, and hold everybody accountable.
Yes,
So,
I call them front line.
I'm sorry?
Again, that's another front line. Those are frontline Democrats right there.
Yeah.
They are very important to people, and they
Yeah,
need to be recognized as such.
right. And I'm so just hopeful to know that there would be someone who could really recognize them and appreciate them and validate them, train them, help them understand what the expectations are, and hold everybody accountable. Because people like that. People want to be held accountable, but
And they
they first
also
need
want
to
to know
know.
what they're supposed to be doing and what the
Right,
expectations are.
right. They first need to know what they're supposed to do. And so I'm really excited for leadership that will support that grassroots development, because that's how we're going to reach all of the people in the rural areas, really face to face. And that will be honestly maybe the only way to really break through the nationalized Republican messaging that is streamed straight from, Fox News to local TV stations and to local radio stations. That's how you do it. You get people at the local level who are talking face to face with voters.
That's exactly.
Okay, I think those are all my questions. All right. Oh, here's a good question. Okay, what will it take for Democrats to win in Indiana? So yeah, no pressure.
Oh, no pressure on that. Well, again, Deb, I come to you with not knowing, all the answers, certainly. But what I know from my experience, what we need to lead our party forward is we need energy, hard work, and most importantly, a solid plan for success. We need that solid plan for success. As somebody who has spent time honorably serving, I need to know that there's a plan for us, that there's not just a half plan, that there's a plan for us, that my friends who are elected today and my friends who are going to be elected in the future, I want to make sure that they know that there is a plan, that there is a plan for us to be passing policies that are fair and progressive, but also that the districts in which they represent are fair. And I know that, really, I've talked about it. It comes and it begins really with a comprehensive strategy that refreshes our party from the grassroots up in order to establish that workable infrastructure. And that's what we've built here in District 92. But that supports our candidates really across the board. We need to be investing in our county parties and certainly our grassroots organizers. And most importantly, our voters. Our
Yay,
voters
yeah,
is what
yeah.
we need to be investing in. And if we're going to truly revitalize our party, and that's, we know the voters are our high priority. And that's again why I'm doing what I'm doing. And we can, and I want everyone to know, we will work like a well-oiled machine together under strong leadership, that we stand side by side as we expand the outreach, and that we continue to fight for our neighbors and all Hoosiers across the state. And I believe with everything in me, 10 years ago, we were in the majority.
That's
It's our time. So let's not waste another minute. Everyone do what they can to take a deep breath and know that we are going to move forward in a way that we will have the day that Democrats will be elected at the top, and that we will be passing policies to help all of us. And we will need to lead with excellence and hard work along the way, and take full responsibility for where we're at today, and all work together to move forward. And it's going to be lasting. We will make sure that we put in the maintenance work as we move ahead, and that for our future generations, there will never be a day that they will be in a majority of super Republican majority. There's never going to be that day again. So Deb, I appreciate your time, and everyone who is listening and going to watch this, please reach out to me. If it's okay, I would love to give my information. Everybody already has my cell number, so why not? It's important to have it out there, but it's 317-260-1194. And also people can reach out to me on Twitter and Facebook, Karlee Macer on both. And just no matter what, I want everyone to know, again, no one's going to show up to save the day. Certainly, it's our responsibility to do this work moving forward. And let's leave the finger pointing aside, and let's use every bit of our energy to lift each other up. And so that we're going to see the day that there won't be an election where Indiana lights up red. As a matter of fact, it's going to light up blue, and we're not too far from that. But let's all do the work together.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you so much, Karlee. It was just a delight to talk to you, and I hope we get to do this again soon.
I do too.
All right.
Thank you again for everything, and I look forward to seeing everyone.
All right. We're signing off. Take care.
See ya.